What's up guys, it's Kelly and today I've got another swatch and review for you. Today we are looking at the Orly Fall 2019 collection, which is called the Dreamscapes Collection. And I think this is a very suitable name for this collection. It's definitely a little dreamscapey. So if you guys haven't heard of Orly, it is a mainstream salon brand. It is 13 free, which means it's free of 13 of the major harmful chemicals that are found in nail polish. I feel like these numbers are getting ridiculous, by the way. Like it was 3 free and then it was 4 free and then it was 5 free, but now these brands are like, oh, we're 18 free. Like, by the way, we don't use animal bones. We don't use children's snot. Like, I feel like they're just making stuff up now that they don't use. But regardless, they are advertised as being 13 free, vegan, and cruelty free. So yeah, overall, a good brand. So let's just get started with the swatches. So as always, I am just using base coat underneath all of my swatches. I totally forgot to use my Orly base coat, which I really love. It's one of my favorites. So if you guys are interested, I'll link it. So first up in this collection, we have the shade Dreamweaver, which is a beautiful dusty rose neutral shade. And this one was amazing coverage. I ended up getting full coverage in just one coat. I wanted to show you what it looked like on the second coat though, just so you could see. This color ended up drying a little bit darker than it looked on the nail as I was applying it, but I still think it's such a beautiful rosy neutral shade that you can wear any time of year. Next up we have the shade Ethereal Plane, which is a super light milky rose type of shade that also has a really intense blue shimmer running throughout it. So I was expecting this one to be pretty sheer, but I was actually really impressed with the coverage. I ended up getting full coverage in just 2 coats, which I thought was really nice. I think this is another just like very soft palette cleansing type of color that you can wear. It's nothing too original, but I do think that really subtle blue shimmer in it makes it kind of interesting. It's hard to see on camera though. Next up we have the shade Freefall, which is a super light gray that almost leans like with a purple undertone to it, and this one is actually very slightly pearlized. It's hard to tell until you're applying it and you can see just a tiny amount of brush strokes, but they do even out, which makes it look really nice. This one again, really impressive coverage, especially for a formula like this. I ended up getting full coverage in 2 coats and another just really beautiful shade, although it definitely feels like more of a winter than a fall shade to me. Next up we have the shade Astral Projection, which is a slightly darker gray cream shade, and this one almost had like a little bit of a jelly-like consistency to it. It was a little bit milky and sheer in the first coat, but I did get full coverage in the second coat. Another just beautiful shade, although it totally feels a little bit wintry to me, and it's just a nice general color to have in your collection. Next up we have Into the Deep, which is the darkest of the 3 grays, and this one leans slightly warm toned, especially compared to the other 2 shades. This one I was a little bit surprised that it wasn't as full coverage as the others. Again, it was just a little bit jelly-like on the first coat, but I did get full coverage on the second. I think it's just another beautiful shade to have. It almost looks a little bit cooler toned once you have both coats on, but I'm not really sure, I can't tell. And last but definitely not least, we have the shade Air of Mystique, which is a beautiful dark teal, sort of metallic brushstrokey shade. And this one is extremely impressive coverage. I ended up getting full coverage on the first coat. Sometimes I will do a second coat just to even out my brush strokes, but with this kind of brush, I think it just applied so easily that I definitely didn't even need a second. It just looked gorgeous. So yeah, those are the polishes. Honestly, for me, I feel like this collection gives me way more of a winter vibe than a fall vibe. I feel like fall still contains like a lot of really like warm tones. To me, these grays and blues and like soft blush shades, they feel totally winter to me. That being said, I totally love the colors. Orly is one of those brands that I feel like I never reach for, but every time I do, I'm like, oh, I actually really like this. Like I feel like they're not colors I would specifically like go and like pick out and be like, oh, this is a great color. But every time I'm wearing them, I'm like, why haven't I worn this before? Like I love this color. So I don't know, I think it's really interesting. I'm definitely gonna try to use some more Orly and see, you know, how I feel about them over time, but I love their brush. I think their formula is really impressive, and yeah, I don't know, pretty interesting colors for sure. Not necessarily colors that I tend to pick out, but they're still interesting. So these polishes retail for $9.50 USD on the Orly website, or you can get them wherever Orly is sold. I'll link everything that I can find down below for those of you who are interested. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments what you think. I would love to know your thoughts on Orly in general. If you guys have any favorites from them, list them down below so I can check them out. If you're not already subscribed to my channel, what are you waiting for? Consider subscribing. It's free. And yeah, that's it. So I'll talk to you guys later. Bye. I don't know if this is really a fun fact, but I think it's an interesting fact that has shaped my feelings on sports in general, which is that neither my high school nor my college had a football team. So like I never grew up going to football games. That was like not something that was on my radar, and now I like hate football. I just think it's so incredibly boring. I feel like if you condensed all the actual playtime, it would be like 3 minutes long. So I really never got into it, and I feel like a lot of it is because I like never grew up watching it or like being interested in it. Like I said, my high school just didn't have it, so I never like went to football games. That wasn't like the thing to do when we were in high school. And then in college, we just didn't have a football team either, so that was not a thing that we did either. So yeah, never really got into football. Kind of think it's super boring and super lame. All right, that's it. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.